Hey friends, welcome to PowerCoat Music. In this presentation, we're going to talk about beginner home studio setups. And if you're looking to build your first home studio, you've landed in the right place. Now this is because this is the presentation that you should watch first. It's critical that you watch all of this before you check out any other beginner home studio setup types of videos, because if you don't, it can't fully help you. Now, we're going to cover several different types of home studio setups so you can choose which one may be right for you. Otherwise, you could waste a lot of time and money on software and gear that leads you down a path of total frustration. Believe me, many of us who have had home studios for a long time have been there. Now, before we continue, I want to quickly ask you to please check out my YouTube homepage to view all of my videos carefully organized by subject. Also, if you find you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a great deal. Now let's get back to it. First of all, it is critical to understand that a beginner home studio setup should be based on gear that fits your personality and how you work best, not what someone else who doesn't know you thinks you should be using. That can often be a big mistake. You must also understand that a vast number of first-time home studio builders get frustrated with their choices of gear, software, space, and workflow. They either quit or end up never recording much of anything. Their home studio either gathers dust or eventually gets replaced with a newer home studio that ends up doing the same. To avoid these common pitfalls, let's look at some of the pros and cons of 3 of the most common studio setups to see which one may be the best starting point for your first home studio. It's critical for you to consider your personal space as we walk through the various recording studio configurations. I have broken home studios down into 3 basic categories, which are on-grid home studios, off-grid home studios, and hybrid home studios. So, grab your coffee or tea and sit back and relax. The point here is not which type of beginner home studio is better. The point is which type of beginner home studio may be better for you. We'll start with on-grid home studios. In this presentation, the definition of an on-grid home studio is one that is built around recording using recording software on a personal computer. This platform is either Windows or Mac-based operating system that is connected to the internet. On-grid studios are the recording industry standard, so keep that in mind. The heart and soul or core of this type of setup includes, but is not limited to, a fast PC, that is the fastest you can afford, an audio interface hardware device. Now, an audio interface is a device that connects to a computer connects a computer to audio equipment such as microphones and instruments to record, play, and process sound. It acts as a bridge between the analog and digital worlds of audio. Next is a digital audio workstation software application. This is what is referred to as a DAW or DAW software. A set of studio monitors, speakers, or headphones, and you're also going to need a good microphone. Now, digital audio workstation software is a vast and complicated topic. A full discussion of DAW software brands is beyond the scope of this presentation. However, we can take a look at some of the types included, as it is important. Number 1 is free versions of DAW software. Now, the features are limited, but this can be a good platform for beginners, and those who are on extremely tight budget, and for people who just want to explore. The second is paid versions of DAW software. Many of these products are used by professionals around the world, and they can get very expensive. This is your basic recording and mixing platform in software. Number three is limited versions of paid DAW software. Now, many are inexpensive and some are also free. In some cases, they can include up to 80 to 90% of the same features of the full versions of the same product. Let's move on and take a look at some of the pros and cons of on-grid home studios. And we'll start with the pros. The first is you can record live, or in a studio with virtually unlimited tracks. The system is connected to the internet and is updated via new software releases. Audio editing knows no bounds. You can cut, paste, copy, move, arrange song parts until your heart is content. Virtual Studio Technology, that is VSTs, this is an audio plug-in software interface that integrates software synthesizers and effects into digital audio workstations. VST and similar technologies use digital signal processing to simulate traditional recording studio hardware in software. Some of them may be free to use. Now, the ability to use virtual instruments gives you access to otherwise impossible resources such as a full orchestra or an expensive piano. The ability to use just about any type of effect or special effects is also included. The ability to create songs without knowing how to sing or play an instrument is something you can do. Kanye West is a good example. You can record using full spectrum of the MIDI implementation. You can also create your own unique sounds and manipulate your existing audio any way you wish. You can mix, remix, and master songs. You can produce and edit podcasts. Now, some DAWs feature artificial intelligence, AI, which can help you take your productions to the next level, make them more professional. And there's much, much more that comes along with that. Let's move on to the cons. Digital audio workstation software is designed to work on systems that are not created to record music, that is the software. This can lead to a lot of complicated configurations, and it's not for the faint of heart. DAWs require external hardware such as a USB audio interface that often require PC OS driver updates that are designed to eventually make that hardware obsolete. Drivers go out of date, they go out of style. The average operating system that DAWs run on in a home studio is connected to the internet on platforms that are often not secure or not very secure. An internet connection is required for most DAWs today and for your OS and DAW software updates and fixes. This means that many people who record music and their hard work is susceptible to cyber attacks such as viruses, malware, theft, ransomware, and much more that can destroy your home studio setup. Many people who work on computer systems all day are often overwhelmed when trying to record music on their computers too. Now, it can be too much PC time for them, which often leads to early fatigue and burnout with recording. DAW software is set up as a service to keep you paying for upgrades and add-ons. That's the software business model. You got to keep that in mind. The additional audio plugin software you may want or need can be very expensive. DAWs typically require people who are good with sophisticated software applications, PC hardware additions and configurations, and who can understand new technologies fairly quickly. The complexities of DAW software are high and often leave many professional and non-professional users discouraged. And they can eventually, or should I say they eventually quit using it and look for other alternatives. PC operating systems will come to an end of life sooner than later. And that means that your DAW will either no longer work or be unsupported at some point. You got to keep that in mind as well. Now, consistent software upgrades are required for your PC and the DAW software to operate consistently and reliably. Let's move on to our next home studio configuration type, which is off-grid home studios. My definition of an off-grid home studio is one that is built around recording using a standalone hardware digital multi-track recorder and or sequencer. This platform does not require a PC for recording and is not connected to the internet. This type of setup includes, but is not limited to, a hardware digital multi-track recorder, a set of studio monitors and or speakers and or headphones, and lastly, a microphone. We know that DAWs are the industry standard in professional recording, but hardware digital multi-track recorders are still in demand with people who want to get away from complicated PC software-based products and record with real knobs, faders, and buttons instead of a mouse. For more information on this type of studio setup, watch my video, Best Home Studio Setup Under $550 on this channel. Let's look at some of the pros and cons of off-grid home studios. We'll start with the pros. First, you can record live or in a studio with this type of setup. This system is designed solely for and dedicated to recording, mixing, and producing music, nothing else. The learning curve is lower than that of a DAW. And no external hardware devices such as a USB audio interface is required. The unit does not require a PC or OS platform to record music. The unit is not connected to the internet, so the platform is secure from cyber attacks such as viruses, malware, theft, ransomware, and more. Some units feature advanced song editing functionality such as cut, paste, copy, move, delete, which allows you to arrange songs and parts. The units have onboard multi-effects processors and the ability to also use external effect processors. Some units have the ability to use samples and have onboard drum machines. You can remix, mix, or master songs. You can produce and edit podcasts. System firmware upgrades are free and often includes fixes that includes new features. The unit can potentially last for decades without any upgrades. The basic features on the unit that you use the most are generally fairly straightforward and simple to use. You can generally also get your recording done more quickly. Get your ideas down faster. You have the ability to produce professional results. Let's look at the cons. The number of tracks are limited. Next, your audio editing is limited or even non-existent on some units, depending again on the unit. There's no VST technology. The onboard audio effects are also limited. Many of the units produced today, they don't have onboard or built-in MIDI ports, that it's 5-pin DI and MIDI ports. The screens are small. Some units are also overloaded with features that can make navigation and gaining a general understanding of the device somewhat difficult. And finally, let's cover hybrid home studios. In this presentation, the definition of a hybrid home studio is one that is built around recording using both a personal computer and a hardware digital multi-track recorder. This platform is a Windows or Mac-based operating system that is connected to the internet. Hybrid home studios are the most complicated, but yet the most comprehensive type of setup. This platform allows users the ability to collaborate with a wide range of other artists using flexible workflows. It also allows for much more creativity for artists as they are not limited to specific processes for creating, recording, and producing their music. This type of setup includes, but is not limited to, the fastest PC you can afford, a digital audio workstation software application, again, DAW software, you're integrating that, a hardware digital multi-track recorder with an audio interface built in, not separately, but built into that unit, a set of studio monitors and/or headphones, and a microphone. Now, the pros of the hybrid equal the pros of both the on-grid and off-grid home studio setups. This is because the ability to switch between and blend these setups gives the users the ability to exploit the pros in their recording processes. However, the cons only equal that of the on-grid home studio setups. The pros and cons in this regard make the hybrid home studio the most expensive, the most complicated, but also the most flexible and comprehensive of all the types of home studios covered in this presentation. Now that we've covered the basics, the choice is yours. I strongly suggest you investigate what type of home studio you believe best fits your personality. And keep in mind that as you grow with recording, your studio may change into a new type of home studio that later supports your requirements. Well, that's a wrap. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up and click the subscribe button to join our group. We have new videos coming out every 7 to 14 days. And please leave a comment in the comments section to let us know how you feel about the video. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. While you're here, please listen to the music and check out some of the other playlists on the channel because they're designed just for you. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon.